Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Burn Bootcamp podcast. It is DK, your visionary. And as you can see here, if you're watching this on YouTube, looking pretty in pink in the new gear, Burn Nation gear. I'm all about some pink, y'all. Excited to be here with you guys today. Listen, I'm going to cover a topic that's very near and dear to my heart. Sometimes when I say the title of what I like to call this topic, it jars people a little bit because it's a little, how would you say, it's a little bit polarizing, but I think in a very good way, okay? And the topic today is language, okay? How you're talking to yourself, okay? And there's two ways you can talk to yourself. There is a body of language you can use that's positive, a body of language that you can use that's negative and that's not going to serve you. And I titled the positive body of language, the words of winners, and the negative, pessimistic language that's not going to serve you, the language of losers. And I do not think you are a loser. I am not trying to offend you by calling you a loser. I'm just saying you might be talking to yourself like a loser does, okay? And so I know that if you're here, that you are a winner, that you are, you're using your time, your energy, your effort to listen to this podcast and to make yourself better. I know that you strive to be a winner. And so that's what I want to do. I really want to open up the differences for you on language, because when I learned how to speak to myself, the game absolutely changed for me. I became stronger mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially, relationally, sexually, everything, right? Like, because now I'm the one driving the narrative in my head, and I'm not letting the words that have been floating around for, thousands and thousands of years. I'm not letting those words, those thoughts, the language of other people that have come before me. I'm not letting that dictate my future state, my future self, my existence, okay? I'm going to question every piece of language I use, every philosophy I use, every belief that I have. I'm going to question it, right? I'm never going to go through life pretending that I'm the same person as I was yesterday. If you're the same person today as you were yesterday, that's an ultimate failure, right? I cannot tell you how incredible it is for me to look back and to know who I really was at 18, 19, 20 years old, just like a good guy, but just lost, like no mentorship, no philosophy on life, to where I am now. It's just an incredible transformation. And my future self is going to tell myself now, hey, continue to shape your words to be a winner. So that's what we're going to do today. Let's talk about it. Language of winners, the words of winners versus the language of losers. Let's start with the latter, toxic talk. Okay, we can call it that too. If you don't like the terminology I'm using, language of losers, you can call it toxic self-talk. It's the same thing. Okay, here's you know all of the all of the times when you're like overtly toxic to yourself, right? Like, you know when you're beating yourself down for no reason. Okay, when, things aren't going the right way, and when you're getting in your feelings, when you're getting a bad attitude, when your effort's going down because of that bad attitude, right? Generally speaking. So I don't want to speak on the things you already know. I want to speak on the real silent toxic language, okay? And that is the following word: indifference. When you are indifferent, it is the subtle, slow killer. It is death by 1,000 cuts. What do I mean by indifference? Indifferent language is my only pet peeve I have in this lifetime, okay? It's the only one I have. When people say I have pet peeves, I'm like, what's mine? I'm like, when I hear people use indifferent language, words like sure. It's like, hey, do you want to come over and hang out on Friday night, have some dinner? Sure. Maybe not overwhelmingly negative. Maybe it doesn't pick up on the negative radar for people, but sure, that's playing in the middle. Fine, okay, maybe, I don't know. Like, using this type of language consistently, it doesn't commit you to anything in life. And if you're not committed to something in life, then you're never going to face any obstacles, right? If you're not committed to something in the future, you're not going to face obstacles. You don't face obstacles. You don't feel suffering. You don't feel suffering. You don't feel pain. You don't feel pain. Then you have no motivation to get rid of it. Okay. I know all the times in my life when I've been most motivated, getting released from the giants, the pandemic. It's like the 2 times in my recent years, those times are the times when I'm motivated by pain. I'm motivated the most because of those are the most painful times. And so commit yourself to language. Yes and no, right? Don't say sure. Don't play in the middle. You're going to come over? Yes or no? If you don't want to, say no. If I asked you, if you're my buddy, if you're my friend, and I ask you, hey, do you want to come over for dinner on Friday night and talk shop, talk business? We can hang out. I'll cook some steak. We'll, have a drink. You'll have a lemonade, whatever you want to do. And we'll talk business. Sure. I'm like, instantly to me, when I get that back in my text message, I'm like, they don't want to be here. They're just saying that they're going to come over because I asked them and they're scared to say no. All right. So lead your own life. Words of winners. Winners lead their own life. If you're using the language of losers, you're not leading your own life. Sure, fine, okay, maybe, I don't know. Stop being indifferent. This death by 1,000 cuts will eat at you over time, and it will start to shape your personality. And when you use this language for long enough and it becomes your attitude becomes your personality becomes your reputation is all you have, and it takes 20 years to build it and 20 seconds to lose it with the wrong person. That person that says sure to me when I ask them to do something that I'm really excited about, I lose respect for them. I have much more respect for them if they just say no. Just say no, thank you. I'm just really going to stay in on Friday and I don't feel it. Great, awesome. We can still be friends. I'm going to respect you much more if you're just honest with me. Okay, and the second thing that I would really want to point out here when it comes to the language of losers or toxic self-talk is I'm not a blank person. I'm not a fitness person. I'm not a business person. I'm not a exercise person. I'm not a person who wins. I'm not a person who can do X, Y, and Z. So absolute, so definitive when stated in the negative, you're literally shaping your personality. You're telling yourself who you are and who you aren't, but based on what? How, I'll ask people jarring questions back. They'll be like, DK, I'm not a fitness person. I'm like, oh, really? That's, you're not a fitness person. Oh, it's like, were you supposed to be born doing burpees? Were you supposed to be doing burpees right out of the room? What do you mean you're not a fitness person? You got a body, right? Show me your muscles. You got muscles? Oh, okay. So what do you really mean by fitness person? Like, oh, well, what I really meant to say was like, I've never worked out before. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. That sounds good. I've never worked out before. That's a pre-assumption that I have never before, meaning that there's opportunity and possibility in the future. Do you see how if I ask you one question, you can go from language of losers to words to winners. And if you think about that statement, I've never exercised before, the terminology before insinuates that there's possibilities in the future. When there's possibilities in the future, there's a non-zero probability that you actually are a fitness person. And now it's just about making the decision. But if you're so absolute, if you so clearly define yourself as I'm not a fitness person, then there's zero probability that in the future you're going to be able to actually become somebody who is built in fitness to their ritual and to their lifestyle. And so, listen, I have so much more that I can talk about on this. You guys, listen, I'm here once a week with you guys on the Burn Bootcamp podcast. I drop multiple podcasts every single week on the Devan Kline Show. You can go over there and check out more. But I just wanted to give you a little bit of my mindset around winners, around losing, winning, how language is really the intersection of the fundamental beliefs that you have as a human being, and how these little nuanced words and these nuanced phrases that we repeatedly say to ourselves is just chopping us down at the ankles and the knees over time, and you deserve so much more, right? Listen, the world is trying to chop you down already. There's no need to chop yourself down. All right. So that's what Burn Boot Camp is all about, surrounding yourself with people who understand what winning is in whatever realm, whatever game they're playing. Okay. There's positive, there's negative. Let's be positive. Let's be optimistic. Let's go win. Let's fix our language. Until next time, make sure you're subscribing to the Burn Boot Camp podcast. 2 claps on 2, 1, 2.